we are at last with another face paint video. It's been so long. I must admit I've really struggled for inspiration and confidence for self paints, but with 2017 here and also the new Beauty and the Beast film coming out, what better way to kind of get started and move forward with it. So the colours I'm mainly using for this piece is Cameleon body paint, and this is Matteo Arfonotti's colour palette, which I'm also adding the steampunk metallic colour to give me an extra brown. As you can see, I started off by using the almond colour to just go and roughly sketch in the guidelines. I used a picture of the Beast from the original cartoon film for this. Reason being is I'm not that big a fan of the new Beast. I don't think he looks anywhere near beastly enough. He looks far too charming, and that is not the Beast to me. The Beast looks evil and he has to kind of win you round with his charms. So I went for the kind of 2D version of the Beast with the aim of using Airbrush alongside brush and sponge work to give him a lot more depth and to make him a bit more realistic looking. So once I had that outline, I'm then going in with all of my different tones, filling it in and building it up pretty much just like a colouring book. I'm starting from light to dark simply because the lightest features are the most prominent on his face, and therefore I think if I did it the other way around it could get really confusing and the browns could all merge into one. So by doing the lightest areas first, it just really helps map it out for me. So once I have all of that base layer down, I'm now going in with the airbrush to kind of really create the depth. I'm starting with going in with Senjo Colour White. Senjo is one of my favourite brands of airbrush paint to use, and I'm just going along those really prominent areas and just trying to kind of make it look a little bit more 3D. It doesn't really look it at this stage. It's really about building up the layers when it comes to airbrush. As you can see me now going in with the light brown and then the dark. But I always like to start off with white, simply because white can very easily sink into those colours that are behind it. So I always like to start off with white just to give me a guideline of where those highlights are going to be, and then I'll go back in with white at the end so that they really stand out. Now, rather than going in with a black, because I so often ruin things by going in with black, I feel like I did on my Grinch one that I did last, but I didn't want to not upload it because May was just so cute in it. But yeah, so instead of going in with black, I'm going in with this really, really deep brown, which is part of the Cameleon body paint Scareline range in their airbrush colours. Now, I'm not being dramatic when I say that I really couldn't live without the Scareline colours in my kit. I find them so useful. They're all deep, kind of murky looking colours, so they're great for Halloween and different looks like that. However, I find them so useful in just everyday kind of painting because they're just perfect for adding those deep shadows to pieces. They're literally my most used colours in my kit, and I can't recommend them enough. The varicose colour, for example, is like a deep Payne's grey, and it's so good to kind of use these colours rather than just using black. I'm now going to go in and start refining it with some brushwork. I'm using the face painting shop brush in size 0, which is my favourite brush to work with for fine detail work. Since I discovered it, I love it. I need more of them in my kit. It's just so useful. If this was a full body paint, I probably wouldn't go in and do fine brushwork like this as in such detail. When you're doing a body paint, you've got to think that it's going to be seen from a few feet away, so you have to judge your time and know whether it's worth putting in this detail or not. With a face paint, people are going to come up and people are going to come close to see and have a closer look, so it's worth going in with the fine detail. I'm pretty much just kind of going over what I've already done with the airbrush, but I'm doing it in short, flicky kind of brush strokes to simulate that kind of fur effect. So it can really help enhance my design here. I'm not doing solid cartoony lines, I'm doing flicky fur type lines. If you are going in to refine your airbrush work with a bit of brush detail work, you do want to be careful to not go too over the top, because otherwise it will just completely cover up all of the hard work you've just put in creating depth. And that is why I'm going in with such a fine brush, because it just kind of helps minimise the risk of you covering up all of that depth detail that you've just created. Also, I often like to have a second brush on hand. This is to just soften out any harsh lines by using it for a little bit of dry brushing. I'm now going in with some white just to highlight that brushwork detail. I don't want to be too bold with this, so I'm using my finger just to soften any little bits that do kind of go on a little bit too harsh. With this being a beast and therefore it being fur, you can't really go wrong with it, so just those flicky little motions will do the job. I felt just to finish this piece off it really needed the shoulder and chest area doing. I haven't done this in ages and I forgot how hard it is to paint myself, so do excuse me. Also, my battery died while I was doing this bit, so you can kind of get a rough idea of what I did, and then I was just impatient, so I finished it off while the camera battery was charging, but it's pretty obvious what I did. Pretty much same old, laying the base colour down. I used the Illusion Big Mama brush for this, which is absolutely amazing. Another brush that I need more than one of in my kit, so I get so much use out of it. It's great for laying down base. Also, you can see the Payne's Grey there from the Scareline that I used before I went in with the black, and this just adds that extra depth to the scarf that he's wearing. Yeah, you're just building up those layers of colour yet again. It's a little bit messy, as like I said, I completely forgot how hard it is to paint that area of yourself. I do need to practice some more. I added a few whimsical dots. I also went in a bit chunkier with my line work when doing the refining on this area, just because I want the main focus to be on the face, so there's no point doing really fine details. I also use my airbrush to spray my hair brown and to add some really rough horn shapes in there, just to give the impression of the horns. If you like this video, please let me know. It'd be great if you could share this around and kind of help me get my work out there. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you, and here's to the next one.